Alright, so there's about 4 things here on the end of this list. Most of it has to do with splines and handicap rating. I'm just going to show you the handicap rating thing real quick. It's nothing really special. You have to get a certain amount of plays for your course to be handicap rated, and it has to be a certain distance as well. I would never worry about this unless your course gets over like 2,000 plays. You're not going to be handicap rated, but if you want to pause and read these, you can. There's nothing really special here. There's a good chance you probably won't get handicap rated. I've been designing for about 4 or 5 years now, and I've only gotten one that was handicap rated, so I wouldn't really expect this unless you really are popping off. And all that does, it obviously gives you a handicap rating. It affects how players can score in tournaments and stuff. So it's nothing super special. I would never worry about it. But now let's actually get into the main topic of this video, which is splines. And splines are something that we have already been working with a lot. It's just here at the end of the list, so I need to go over it. Splines are the same things that you're using for your fairways. They're these little circles. So if I come up here and highlight this, you can see that that was our spline point for the hole. Now the only really special thing about spline points is when you're in here in the edit tab, there are multiple different things in here. Now you can select your surface. So if you want to change this to a bunker for God knows what reason, you can. If you want to change this all to light rough, you can. It's all up to you. You can change it to mulch, any of this stuff in here. Your secondary surface I went over earlier. That is, you come in here, you select light rough, it'll give you this right here. You can select your secondary width to make it wider or shorter. Now one thing I will want to point out is when you are trying to come over here and select on these things, don't go to spline handle. Spline handle is not the useful one. You'll want to go to spline point. Spline point is where is all your useful stuff. That's where you're going to be making all your big edits. Spline handle are these tiny little points in between the spline points that you place. So in here you got smooth and sharpen, where you can smooth. I never really mess with any of this stuff. It really doesn't seem to do anything at all. If anything, it only makes tiny little adjustments. Like you can see how this thing's moving in or out just a little bit. It's nothing really that special. So I usually just leave these as is. I don't really mess with them. And in terms of everything else in here, there's not really a lot. There's an add to spline tool, which absolutely sucks. It it does not work in the best way that it could work. Like this is how you add. Like this is just. Why would I want to add a crown? I just don't understand why they did this in this way. I'm sure there's a specific use for it, but I don't see it. It's not there for me. In terms of everything else on this tab, there's really not a lot else that's going to be very useful to you in here. The only other thing you want to really look at is this one down here at the bottom. The shape state, which is filled. You can open it to open up your whole fairway. You can close it, which all that does is just closes the opening point at the end. Like there's a, I think I started this one down here, yeah, right there. You can kind of see the opening. So if I come in here, select edit, come down here. Well, that should close it up, but it's not. But anyway, you're never going to really mess with those anyway. So the filled is all you're really ever going to use. Open is only used for cart path splines. Like if I select this spline point here, I go to edit, and you see how this whole thing is opened. If this whole thing was filled, yeah, you don't want that. It fills from the start to the ends of the whole cart path. So you want to keep it on opened. Now if you're doing like a cart path or a parking lot, having it filled would be nice, but for cart path, no. But I think that's everything in here inside of the spline point tab. There's really nothing super special in here. If you have any questions about any of these, just let me know. There's nothing crazy useful in here. Once you place your spline down, you're pretty much done with it. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know.